Well, well, well. My first race at the Nurburgring went about as I predicted. My entire objective here, again, this is an incredibly long track, 16.12 miles, 170 turns. It is just nuts. And uh, unless you take the time to learn this track, and that's going to take me years. I'm just not going to be competitive here. So I came in starting in ninth place, and my entire objective in the race was to just survive it. You already see people hitting each other, and I'm thinking that people are going to be super aggressive here. They're going to have accidents and take themselves out of the race, especially those people in front of me pushing hard. But as you'll see, things don't quite go that way. One thing I will say about my race here compared to all others is that the lobby, the people in the race, were incredibly respectful of each other and, having a good time complaining about the conditions and everything. Because when I started this race, it said there was a 25% chance of rain. Well, 100% of the time, that's going to be 25% of the time. So it's going to start raining in lap two. But what's going on here is you can see, I'm just not familiar with this track in a competitive sense of the word. And so person after person is passing me. And quite frankly, I'm just not fighting it. Let them pass me. I'm going to just play it safe. I want to just get through the race and survive. Because primarily, I didn't get to race at Spa last week because of the holidays. Things just got out of control, and I never got a chance. There's another guy off the track, and I didn't want to miss out on another week of races, even if I'm not particularly competitive. The only way to get better is to practice, right, and to do it. So that's now three people off the track that we've seen. But nobody taking like so much damage that they are out of the race yet. You'll hear me on the radio frequently as we continue the race to tell people, hey, go ahead and pass me on the left or pass me on the right as we go into this straightaway. I recognize I don't have the pace of a lot of these folks, and I just want to stay out of their way and not ruin their race. And not destroy my car and ruin my race entirely. So there's some discussion going on early in the race about should I be on wet tires or dry tires. And I'm on dries. I think the majority of the field was on dries, but there were a couple people on wet tires. And they really felt the punished pace early on. You can see just person after person is passing me, and I'm just letting it happen. In fact, I'll even tell them in some cases, just pass me on the left or pass me on the right. Giving them plenty of room. I don't want to wreck their race. I don't want to wreck my race. And some of it's just having the experience of driving the track with other contestants on it and seeing how I do. And how I did is, as you can tell at the very beginning of this race, not particularly well, as I just don't have the pace these drivers have. It's an incredibly complicated track with varying road conditions. They are the track is incredibly bumpy. I showed that in my last video, but let me give you a sense of what it looks like from the cockpit view. Here's me avoiding an accident. Just not comfortable in these turns. I don't know. I mean, as I'm racing down the strip. Racing is a very strong word in this case. As I'm driving for a Sunday drive down the track here, one of the things I see myself saying is, okay, the next turn's a right, and then I think there's a left after that. So there's some guesswork going on my part. I told this guy to go ahead and pass me. But, yeah, I mean, I'm not putting up a fight with anybody. I'm just hoping to finish the race, and I'm hoping that, ideally, from my perspective, if some of these people destroy their cars, I've hit this wall so many times in practice, by the way, but if people destroy their cars, okay, that's free places for me. Considering how dangerous the track is, I thought, you know, certainly there would be more people doing that. That turns out not to be the case in this lobby. I think almost everybody does complete the race. There's maybe one or two people that actually crash out, but it was fun. I will say, not the most fun I've had. I don't know that I'm a huge fan of this track at this point. You can see how much it bounces around. And I think I'm just not a huge fan because I don't have the time right now to commit to learning it. And I think, quite frankly, learning it is going to be a multi-year process for me to get competitive at this track. So for me, this track is not an ideal circuit for the Porsche Cup that I've been driving. And you can see that the people passing me are just leaving me in the dust. I will say the track is I don't know that I would drive this track in real life. Certainly not without tons of simulator time. There's another person that's been taken out. But I've lost so many places at this point. I think I'm driving in 17th or 18th place at this point after starting in 9th. There's 23 drivers on the grid. It's stressful when you don't know what the turns incredibly well. Take Miami, for example. By the time I was racing in Miami, I could have sat at a table and drawn the track for you on a piece of paper. I know exactly where each turn is and where I'm supposed to be on each turn. Here, just too much guesswork. There was no way I was going to be competitive here. Just no way. And a lot of these folks have been driving for years or playing this track a lot. And so there's just no way. But now I can say I've done it. I don't know that I'm going to do more this week. It was, I might, if nothing else is going on, but it is, it's a stressful, tough, concentration-filled event, especially when you're not familiar with it. You can see the person behind me already catching up to me. He's much more familiar with the track than I am. And here comes the carousel, the famous or infamous carousel, which I take terribly, even though I knew it was coming. That is one piece of the track I do know is coming. Telling this guy behind me, go ahead and pass me, I'll give you room. Just pass me on straightaway, and I actually even slow down and let him pass me before I hitting the accelerator and drafting off of him. And you'll notice the clouds are getting thicker. I wonder why that is. I will say also, this is my first time driving in rain in the simulator. And, oh boy. I'm in dry tires on a wet track. I'm not noticing it at this point too much. You know, it is, I hear people starting to complain on the radio about, oh boy, here it comes. And oh no, why am I on dry tires? And the guy in wet tires is saying, yeah, I called it, you know. But yeah, it's going to be a challenge. It's going to be a challenge, as you see. And it's not even raining heavy yet. And the water hasn't begun to accumulate on the road quite yet. I will say, people are joking around on the radio here more. They are, you know, complimenting each other, helping each other, telling each other, oh man, this is slippery here, or this is slippery there. It's really, I think it was honestly the most polite lobby I had been in for this game, which made it a lot of fun. This is a part of the track I think I could memorize relatively quickly, and I was getting close to it at this point. So at least I can maintain some speed through here. But as the rain started coming down, and as I was trying to figure out how that really affects the car, you know, I was being even more cautious than I was previously. One thing I will say too is, as you are driving in the simulator, and I have triple monitors, you can't see the two sides I see in this video, but as you drive the simulator, if you stop thinking about it like a game and you start thinking about it as if you're actually driving a car, that's when you start doing better. You have to immerse yourself in this and understand that you're actually driving a car and it handles like a car. This was a close call too. But even now that the rain is coming down, I'm thinking even more, well, maybe we're going to see people having DNFs as they have accidents. So again, I'm just going to play it cautious and see what happens. This is a part of the track coming up that sometimes catches me by surprise. And I let this guy go on my left. He's got way more pace than I do. And again, you can't hear it, but I'm radioing many of these people, just saying, hey, I have a itinerary that's showing me where people stand, and I can tell them, you know, hey, Travis, go ahead and pass me on the left here. So it's quite easy to look at the order and how far behind me somebody is, or how close behind me they are. You can imagine, if you're not super familiar with this, how nerve-wracking this is. Not knowing how hard that turn is. Okay, so right here is where I usually screw up. This becomes a hard left turn, but I've now gotten it a little memorized. I used to go over that lump every time, but I've gotten much better at it now. This is a guy that was pulled over on the side of the road as I just missed. He's already caught up to me. I mean, I've watched some videos of folks. At my best, my lap time was a 9:43, which was faster than my last practice at 9:50. But these folks are pulling, well, maybe at this spread, they're pulling 9 minutes, 8 minute, 48 seconds, those kinds of things. My coach is doing an 8:08, and I'm watching some YouTubers do like 8:16s and 8:18s. And I asked one of them, how long have you been doing this? And they said, oh, I started in 2020. So they've been doing it for 5 years now. And they've driven this road hundreds, if not 1,000 times at this point. Boy, you really need to brake in a straight line, trail brake out of these turns. I have crashed, as I said before, this wall many times. It's caught me. So it's just going to take experience, and it's just going to take tons of practice. And quite frankly, I just don't have the time this week, or inclination, quite frankly, to spend 40 hours behind the wheel practicing for this race. I'm actually looking forward to next week, and so I'll see. I'm trying to remember the track that's next week, but I think I will start practicing that track now rather than continue to bang my head against the Nurburgring. I think that would help a lot because I'll get way more practice, and I'll be prepared to race by the time that goes live next week. I mean, the track's great, right? You can't say the track isn't great. It's a great track. I just don't have the experience. Here we go. This is a little bit better. That's how you're supposed to do that turn. And the funny thing is, when Shell and I went to the Porsche experience down in Los Angeles and drove the 718 GT4s down there. Excuse me. They have a laser mapped and replica of that turn, the carousel. So we've actually effectively driven that part of the track, which is pretty fun, with a coach sitting next to us as well. I kind of think of this in multiple sections. Once I pass the carousel, I know there's a second one. Its name is eluding me at the moment, but I know there's a second, smaller carousel type turn coming up. And I know for a fact that once I reach that one, and I can never remember exactly where it is until I'm right on the straightaway towards it. But once I reach that one, it's just a couple turns, and then it's the long straightaway. This is a great turn right here because unless you slow down here, you get air like that. And I'm getting a little nervous about that. Normally I'll take that a little bit faster, but the rain and everything being wet, I was concerned I wouldn't be able to stop myself before slamming into something there. You can hear me taking my foot off the gas long before turns, just because I'm not sure what turn is coming up. So this is a very clean lap for me, though, all things considered. Screw that turn up. There's the mini carousel. So we've got one turn here, and then another turn, and then we're on the straightaway towards the finish line, which will put us into our final lap. Here it is. Here's the straightaway. As soon as you see that overpass, you know it. But this is a very clean lap, all things considered. I don't know what my time is. We'll see in a minute. But racing it, not a lot of no-off tracks this particular go-round, and no collisions with people. Dry, you're getting up to 166 miles an hour here. There you go, 166. Oh, 67, 68. Better start braking. Hard right, hard left. Onto the straightaway. Final lap coming up. A 9:35. So I cut almost 10 seconds off my time. Hey, with that kind of improvement in a few races, I'll be great. So here's where the problems start to happen. Final lap, and I take that a little hard. I'm always cautious about rejoining the track. Always cautious about it. I see people who aren't, and they just cause tons of accidents. But the dry tires on the wet pavement does not help there, and I pushed it just a little too hard. I did not even realize at that point those people were even remotely close behind me. So I give up 2 more positions there. You're going to see a couple more mistakes on my part as well. It's a good learning exercise. But you'll see a few more here in a minute. A couple off tracks. And the other thing is I didn't want to get so many off tracks that I have to serve a penalty, which would hurt me even more. So again, just playing it cautious. I'm going to show you a different view, which is a far chase view. Actually, let me show you this. When you watch them race on the Nurburgring, this is the kind of view you're seeing from a helicopter. With all that rain, boy, it just really sucks. So let's not stay with that view. All right, here's where you're going to start seeing some mistakes. The ground is definitely more slippy, and I am starting to notice it at this point. Drivers are talking about it. They're saying how, boy, they wish they were on wets and they made the wrong call. But I am noticing even the person in front of me is going much slower. Just taking these turns terrible just because of my lack of familiarity. I could be so much smoother on this if I knew what was coming up instinctively. I'm not even sure if this is a straightaway. I should have not slowed down there. Hard right. And at this point, this is where I start thinking, oh, I know that really sharp left turn is coming up pretty soon. But again, I'm not thinking. I have a couple markers for it. There's like a black shack on the right and then a red mark on a wall, which is probably where another driver hit it at some point. But there's a red mark on the wall that always gives me a heads up that, yeah, I'm coming into it. But again, I'm just not, I keep saying it, but I'm just not practiced enough at it. Here's the black shack I was just talking about on the right. So that tells me, okay, I know I'm getting closer. It's coming up in just a little bit. God, I would never drive my car like this. Hard left, and there's the red mark on the wall that tells me, hey, we're coming up on this sharp turn. Even that, I feel the car sliding. The other thing was I saw that there was a chance of rain. You know, you get a setup thing that tells you, oh, there's a chance of rain. And I had not set my buttons on my steering wheel to turn on the windshield wipers or flash people in front of me with headlights. So I made a point of setting that up before I began this, otherwise I wouldn't have been able to even turn on my windshield wipers. Then I'd had a real problem. I'm really not trying to push it here, but man. I'm shocked I haven't made another mistake yet. I'd be using these curves. Here it is. This is the wall of death for me, which at least I recognize now and stay away from. There's also times where you're driving it where you're trying to tell yourself, okay, just relax into it, relax a little bit, and there's a mistake. Fortunately, not a critical one, but I do get an off-track penalty for that. And if you collect enough of those, you take an even bigger penalty. Normally it's a drive through the pits. In this case, there wouldn't be a drive through because it's the last lap. So I think they would penalize my time at the end. You accumulate those points for not just off tracks, but for collisions with other cars, which are more severe. So they call it a 4X. When you collide with another car, which puts you and the other car get 4 penalty points. For an off-track, you usually get 1. If you go off-track enough, previously enough, you'll get a time penalty. It'll tell you to slow down for a certain amount of time. And other cars are typically going to pass you while you're slowing down. So in this case, I'm not even sure how far behind me anybody is. Carousel. A little more ready for it this time too. Can handle that pretty good. I can hear other cars, so there are some behind me. Not far enough that we can see though, so still quite a ways behind me. I think at this point they're about 15 seconds behind me, which in racing is just an incredibly long amount of time. But for this track, it's not particularly crazy, I don't think. Especially when you're at the rear of the pack like I am. At this point, I think I'm in 18th place, maybe even 19th place. So again, I'm just, every time I push it and I kind of make a mistake, I tell myself, don't worry about it. If you get past, again, here's another huge mistake on my part. Fortunately, keep it on, back on the road. I think that's my last mistake of the race. But I tell myself, you know, don't worry about getting past. It's fine. Just survive the race. You want to just get to the end of the race without ruining the car. And in these conditions, you know, who knows what's going to happen. But again, I can, even watching it, I can see how timid I am on the acceleration and on the brakes. I'm taking my foot off the acceleration when I don't need to. I'm braking long before I need to in many cases. Or braking too late because I'm just unfamiliar with the, oh, I lied. There's my last mistake. I hope. There we go. Screws me up there. But we're coming into the final piece here. I know I can just go flat out from this one. And honestly, at this point, I'm kind of feeling a sense of relief. I'm at the point where I am telling myself, okay, I think you've made it to the end of the race. We'll see what happens. We still have 2 very sharp turns coming up, but let's just take them cautiously. We don't need to be aggressive. Take it very cautious. The wet track is really affecting me at this point. And that's it. That's the finale of the race. I think the person behind me is about 15 seconds behind me, but that was a 10:07. That was a lot slower than my previous But that is it for me, and I think that is it for me and the Nurburgring. An experience that, while I appreciate, I don't think I need to do it again. I end up in 17th place out of 23, with my fastest lap being that 9:35, which is my fastest lap I've driven on this track. I have not driven enough on it to be in the race. And at the beginning of the race, I was even telling people, yeah, my objective here is just to survive. I said, I'm not sure I belong here. So people had a good chuckle at that. And again, it was a great group of people. So thanks for watching.